Hello friends, today I am going to show you the complete .NET Core roadmap from beginner to expert in 7 levels. Every level will have concepts inside it. If you are new to .NET Core, then follow this roadmap to learn it. If you already know .NET Core, then use this roadmap to find the gaps in your knowledge. And if you are preparing for interviews, then in this roadmap, I will also pinpoint the concepts which are very important from interview point of view. Okay, for each concept, I will share a very high level idea also. Now to get the maximum benefit and as an activity, you have to note down the topics or the concepts which you don't know or you don't understand, so that by the end of this video, you will be knowing what more things you have to learn in .NET Core. Okay, so let's start with the very basic level 1. That is basically overview level 1. Okay, meaning the basics of .NET Core. Here the first step is understanding the difference between .NET Core and .NET Framework. How it is different, like .NET Core is modern, cross-platform and lightweight. So basically the advantages as compared to older .NET Framework. Okay, advantages. Then you have to understand the files inside the .NET Core projects. Here you have the program.cs file, the most important one. Inside it you will be having the main method, which is the entry point of the application. Then the configure services method, where you register the dependencies and services. Then configure method setup used for setting up the middlewares that handles the requests and responses. Okay, and you have optionally startup.cs file as well. This was used in the earlier version before 6.0, but not now. Okay, then we have some more files like this app setting.json file. Okay, so this file will be having the configuration settings like the connection string, and then you will be having the launch setting.json, which controls how your application runs during the debugging. That settings will be inside the launch setting. Okay, so these are the main files which you must know. Now there will be some folders inside your .NET project. Okay, what are the folders? First is www root folder, which is used for keeping the static files like css, js, images. Then you will be having the controller folders, where you will have all your controllers inside. Then views will hold your Razor pages if you are creating a MVC application, not web API. Okay, and then you will be having the model, which represents the data. Okay, with me? Now there are some optional folders also, like services, repository, data, shared, but these are depends on project to project. Okay, it is not mandatory you will have these folders, but mostly projects will have this. All right, so that is a good start of level 1. Now here, from the interview perspective, the advantages of .NET Core and the program.cs file and all its methods are very important to know. Now, as I said, please note down if you don't understand anything from this, and then learn it later. Okay, this is just basics of .NET Core. Now let's move to the level 2, which is the most important part of .NET Core, and that is dependency injection. Okay, if you understand dependency injection, then you can work on any project in .NET Core. Okay, so here is level 2, dependency injection. Let's explore the topics inside it. Okay, so first of all, what is DI? DI helps in managing dependencies or services automatically. Okay, it makes your code reusable and easier to test. So that first you should know why use DI. Okay. Second, how to implement DI. For that, three main types of DI, constructor injection, then we have method injection. So basically constructor injection, passing the dependencies through the constructor. We have method injection, passing dependency through method, then property injection we have. Here in 90% of cases, constructor injection is used. So make sure you must learn and know to implement constructor injection. Okay. After that, learn about DI container, which is built already inside there in the .NET Core. So you do not have to write any code for this DI container, but you should know that yes, it is already present in .NET Core framework. Okay. Then my suggestion is also try to understand the inversion of control design principle, which is used to achieve loose coupling. IOC principle means the control of creating objects inverted, meaning object creation will be managed by the .NET Core framework via the DI container. Instead of your code, you will not create the objects in your code. That will be done by the .NET Core framework. That is IOC. Okay. And if you are using dependency injection in your project, meaning you are already following the IOC principle. Next, understand the service lifetime. So how you register the services in the DI containers using the service lifetimes methods like add scoped or add transient or add singleton. Basically, these control how long a injected service will stay inside the memory. For example, add scoped creates a new instance for each request, while add singleton uses the same instance throughout the application. Okay. So that's very high level idea. I'm not going in detail inside. Okay. So now for advanced dependency injection, you can explore the changing dependencies and circular dependencies, but these are optional. And once you understand the above concept thoroughly, then only explore these advanced concept. Okay, that's it. Here from interview perspective, why to use DI, then constructor injection and the service lifetimes are very important. Basically everything is very important from interview point of view, so don't miss them. Now let's go to the level 3 of .NET Core. Before we move on, I always teach this. Remember, success or higher package need two things, knowledge and courage. And I always recommend, and because I have seen my colleagues who do not work hard and they do not have the knowledge either, but because they have the courage to keep giving interviews, therefore they got better salary hikes in other companies. Okay, therefore I learned that courage is more important than knowledge. If you agree with me in this point, then write never give up in comment section. Never give up and keep giving interviews until you get the best offer. Okay, great. Now let's continue with the roadmap. Here is the .NET Core with level 3, which will be having three things: middleware request pipeline, routing and hosting. Okay, so first let's start with middleware. Middleware is the backbone of the request pipeline in .NET Core. So you have the request pipeline. So many middlewares will be there. So okay, it is a series of components that handle HTTP requests and responses. Okay. Now .NET Core provides some built-in middlewares like use static files. Then basically it serves the static content. Okay. Use routing middleware handles routes, and use authorization enforces the access control. So these are provided built in by the .NET Core. Then yes, you can also create your own custom middleware to perform specific tasks like logging or any other authentication, any other thing. Okay. Next is routing. Routing is how you define the paths that map to the specific controllers or action. Okay, the URLs mapping to the controllers, that is routing, handled by routing. So here we have the conventional routing, which .NET Core framework provide by default, map the URL with the controller. Then you have the attribute routing. Here you define the routes directly inside the controllers using the attributes like root and HTTP cat. Okay. Then we have this endpoint routing, which is more flexible, and nowadays it is very much popular also. Okay. Finally, understand hosting, which is basically of two types. First is in-process hosting, which is run in the application inside the IIS mostly. Then we have the out-of-process hosting, which uses Kestrel. IIS also it can use Azure App Services, Dockers, containers, so anything. So mostly we use out-of-process hosting. That's it, my friend. And if you have any doubt or confusion about any of these concepts, then note it down. Just note the concept name and then check it out later. Okay. Here the middleware and the attribute routing are very important from interview point of view. Next is level 4, where we will cover topics like configuration and cross-cutting concerns. Again, my friend, if these concepts are too much for you, then just listen the name right now, and don't think that you will cover all this in one single day, but you should be aware of the concepts names. Okay, that is the purpose of this roadmap. So level 4, here first let's start with configuration in .NET Core. Configuration in .NET Core mostly we will do in app settings.json, where you store your application settings like connection string of database and other things. Okay. Then yes, you can override app settings via this environment based configurations. When you will, for example, you might have development environment, so you need different settings for so you can write the dev environment settings in app settings.dev.json. Okay, or you can also use the setting environment variables. Okay, for production you can use different settings. For dev, staging, UAT, there are many environments. Okay, so that's about the configuration. Now we have the cross-cutting concerns. Cross-cutting means features or tasks which are commonly apply across your application. For example, caching, validation, and error handling commonly applied. Okay, so caching will commonly apply throughout your application. So for this you can use either in-memory caching for quick storage, and you can then explore distributed caching. You can use the Redis for shared data across servers. Okay, for validation you can use the data annotations like or you can use the fluent this is optional, this fluent validation. Data annotation you must know, fluent validation is optional. Then via the model binding is also there. Okay, and finally you have error handling. Here you will learn how to use exception handling middleware to catch and manage the errors globally. So globally how you will manage the errors, for that you can create a middleware. Okay, so that's it all about this is the level 4, and from interview point of view, caching and validation are very important. Now next is level 5, which is building APIs using .NET Core. But before that, here is a small notification. If you want to cover all the main and top .NET topics in questions and answers format, then you can try my top 500 .NET interview question course. The course link is present in the description. Also, this PDF book link is present in the description. So candidate like this who cracked the interview and got offers via my course, you can also do the same. And if you don't want to miss anything, then you can try this course. Otherwise, no problem. Let's continue. So our next level is level 5, building APIs. Here you will learn how to build APIs using .NET Core. Here start with API controller basics. Basically two things, controller and controller base. Check out the difference between them. Okay. Then API controller attribute enforces best practices like automatic model validation. So it's important. Okay. Then learn about HTTP methods, HTTP get, post, put, delete, patch. Very important. Next, learn the action results like these one, okay, not found, bad requests, which are basically used to return the meaningful responses from your controller methods. Okay. Then at the end, you can explore the model binding to map the incoming data from client to your models. Here you can use this from body, from query, from root, and from form attributes. So you can check from where data is coming, body, query, root, from where. Okay. So from interview point of view, here HTTP methods are must to know and very important. Great. Next we have the entity framework core in our road map. So let's explore this level 6. Entity framework core. This is used for what? For data access, and it is the preferred ORM in the .NET Core. If you are new to entity framework core, then start. How to start? First, install the EF core packages. Okay, and then configure the DB context. This is where you will define your database connection and managed entities. Okay. Also learn the DB set here, and then you can learn the entity framework approaches. Okay, we have 3 approaches. Code first approach, where you write your models and EF core will create the database. Second, database first approach. You start with an existing database and EF core will generate the models. Okay, opposite. And then we have model first approach. It is not so popular, but still it is an option. Okay, so once you are set up, then you can perform the CRUD operations. What are CRUD operations? You will do on entities. For example, adding, updating, deleting entities. Okay. Also, you can use the LINQ with EF core and perform basic queries like where, select, order by for filtering, sorting, and grouping the data. Now, once you are good with above topic, then go for some advanced topic in EF core, which are like relationships in EF core, one-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-many, and also try to understand how to manage database transactions, how to manage multiple operations securely. That's it. And here from the interview point of view, these 2 topics, DB context versus DB set and entity framework approaches are very, very important. Okay, that's all. Now the next level is level 7, and this is slightly for expert, means slightly for next level .NET Core developer. Okay, so here first we will explore what asynchronous programming, go inside it, how async and await, very, very important for everyone. Use why? Because async and await, you will write to non-blocking code that scales better under heavy load. Now it is very much common. Okay, then learn authentication and authorization, where you can run role-based authorization, which assign permissions based on user roles. Then policy-based authorization gives you the more flexibility. Then we have the identity framework, which is used for managing users and roles securely. Okay. Next, performance optimization. Here inside you should learn profiling, application response. It's very wide. Okay, so whatever you know, it's less, because after you will be a good .NET Core developer, then you have to go for the performance optimization more and more and more. Okay. Next, you can learn minimal APIs, which are introduced in .NET 6. For lightweight API creation, it's great. Then for larger applications, you can go for microservices architecture and learn about gRPC communication for fast inter-service calls. Then real-time applications you can learn, where you can explore Signal R, which allows you to send instant updates to clients. Finally, focus on testing, how to use XUnit, NUnit, mock, and integration testing, other things, so that entire system is working as expected. All right, that is the complete .NET Core roadmap. My suggestion is give more focus to the basics and slowly start learning the advanced topics. Okay. All right, that's it, my friend. Now you have to start working on this. Authentication authorization is the, from interview point of view, it is very important, and microservices architecture. Okay. Now that's all. Async and await is also important. So that's all the roadmap we have. Now here is one suggestion for you, that don't set a goal like learn .NET Core. Set a goal like learn .NET Core and get the 100% hike in salary. Okay, that is the real goal. Okay, and if you don't want to face rejections in interviews, then you can try my course of 500 .NET interview questions, where I have covered all the top questions and all the topics of .NET. Also, this PDF is available for download. The links is in description. And finally, I wish you all the best for your interviews.